Some of our goals and expectations obviously are a little bit higher than where they were a year ago, coming off a 6-4 season. We have a large senior class. We have 22 seniors. We have a lot of experience returning, and one of the things when you have experience and guys that have played, the expectation level gets raised. So I think even as a staff, I think we have high expectations for this group. They've worked extremely hard in the off season and in preseason, and we're looking forward to seeing how the season plays out. But we think we have a pretty good chance of being very successful. On the offensive side of the ball, we have 3 offensive linemen that return, and Matt Levinka, Mark Opoliski, and Mike Realbuto, and all have really worked extremely hard and played a lot of football for us. So it always starts up front. And in with that group, we talk about fullbacks and tight ends. We have Dan Reardon and Craig Hamilton and Drew Farber, all seniors who, again, have worked extremely hard. But not only do we think that they can be good football players, but usually that's the backbone of your offense. And then out on the edge, we have 6 really good receivers that are coming back. Bobby Keys played a year for us last year, and so did Andrew DiStefano. So with those guys, they're going to be complemented by 4 other guys who are just outstanding, in Dylan Aldifer, KJ Pretty, Josh Young, Freddie Perry, Stephen DeLosa's in that group. So we feel really confident that it's one of the areas where we have a lot of depth, and our guys are really talented. And then in the backfield, we returned Talib Gerald, who broke his arm a year ago, and we only had him for 3 games. So in our mind, he's one of the most explosive backs in the league. And Dave Shellhammer played 7 or 8 games for us, started last year. So we have 2 starters that are back in the backfield at tailback, and both bring a lot of talent and experience again to the table. So we're real excited there. And then the position that really makes it all go is the quarterback spot, and everybody wants to know what's going to happen. We've had outstanding battle through the spring and into camp, and Tanner Arisman will win the job and get the first start. And Zach Bradley's done an outstanding job. So we feel we have 2 guys that could start for anybody in the conference. Both of them are really talented kids, and not only are they great kids, they're great leaders, and they really understand and grasp our offense. Then on defense, we return a lot of guys, and defense wins championships, and I think we have a good group. We don't have a lot of depth, but so if we stay healthy, we're going to be pretty good. And again, it'll start up front with our defensive line. We return a bunch of defensive ends that are just outstanding. John Najee, who's a 2-time captain. On the other side, Joe Granahan. There's 2 seniors also there, in Tyler Petrie and Tom Lister. And those guys have really, really excelled and grown and matured into really good football players. Inside, we lost John Cox and A.J. Koikoi, which will be big losses, but when you see the guys and how hard they work, that are going to step up. But Brendan Kilkenny and Mike Sullivan are just 2 really good football players, and there's a few older guys right behind them that are battling still for playing time. So we feel really good about the front 4. And then when you look at the second level, at the linebacker level, we return all those guys from a year ago. So Steve Elf, who's a captain, Luke Focus, they're both they'll be 3-year starters. And Dylan Jones is back, who started for us as a freshman last year, and just really looks outstanding in camp. So we're expecting big things out of them. Nate English started 5 games for us a year ago. Nate will be a backup inside linebacker, and then Vince Speranza has done an outstanding job out backing up the outside linebacker spot. So we feel really good about that unit. And again, they're just tough and hard-nosed kids that really play a physical style football. And then in the secondary, it gets a little bit more hairy just because of the depth situation. So we returned what I believe are the 2 best safeties in the league, and Brendan Daly and Vince Moffitt, and they're physical and they're just outstanding football players. And then we returned Ben Oken at 1 corner, who started every game for us last year, who had a really good season for us. And then at the other corner is Jeff Leone, and Jeff's a very good athlete. He's competed harder than anybody during camp, won a job, and we're really excited to watch him play now. Once we get beyond that, we've obviously moved Freddie Perry a little bit over there, so Freddie's trying to learn play both ways. We have Steve Gervasilis over there, who's a sophomore, who's coming into his own. Jamie Hensis is a senior who's playing safety. We have a couple young corners that we like. And then another corner who's really come and shown flashes and did really well in our scrimmage yesterday is John McGee. So we really feel we have 3 corners right now that can get into a rotation and help us. And when you get to special teams, we return everybody from a year ago in terms of our kicker and our punter. Billy Zwick will still be doing our PATs and field goals, and Cody's our punter and was one of the best in the league last year. And we're hoping that we even step our game up there and can control field position to help our defense out. We have some key losses. I mean, obviously, you start with Matt McGarity, who was our quarterback. He battled some injuries last year. So losing him, the two young guys are really going to have to step up. They've both had experience, but he'll be sorely missed. Again, we really don't lose anybody in the backfield, and we didn't lose, we lost Andrew Hurd out at wide receiver. He was a great special teams player, so we'll have to replace him. On offense, we'll miss the offensive line guys. I mean, Ryan Ignatovic was a 4-year starter at left tackle, and, he'll be sorely missed. Lou Muller, Matt Pisarcik, just great kids who are really steady football players that, we're going to have to replace. And then on the defensive side, we lost Trey Henderson at corner, but Jeff Leone's really stepped up, like I said. And when you look at the interior, two guys we lost in John Cox, we lost Max Havlish, and we lost A.J. Koikoi. We'll have to replace those guys, but I think, we're getting a lot better there as camp goes along, and I think we'll be able to replace those guys. The freshman class is an outstanding group. We're really excited about, the guys that we recruited and brought in here. Right off the bat, I mean, you're going to see a couple offensive linemen in the mix. Aiden Kenny and Brian Denoncourt, I mean, just have been having really good camps. And that's not to say that the other young guys that are there aren't good, because they are. I think those two have just mentally figured it out a little bit faster. So you'll see them on the football field for us. Eric Harris and Josh Chapman, both tailbacks, look really good, and they'll add some depth there. The freshman quarterbacks are doing a really nice job, Jack Dunaghy and Matt Hamby. So, on the defensive side, I think we found two good corners in Griffin Schultz and Kyle Busher, and I think those kids are going to be a nice future for our program and give us some depth once we get a little bit further along. And then at the linebacker spot, you got Frank McGlinchey's had an outstanding camp, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can do, and he'll probably contribute a little bit for us. So our preseason training camp has been really fun. It's the weather's been extremely hot, so I think we should be battle tested in terms of getting the kids out on a hot Saturday afternoon. We've sustained some injuries. We've had some guys not be able to take part in all of preseason just because of being nicked and bruised. So, Marlon Fenster-Macher broke his leg. He's an outstanding freshman that we expected to contribute for us this year, so we're waiting to see if he'll get back at some point. But preseason's been a good preseason. It's gone really fast, obviously, as it always does. But I think we've made a lot of strides in terms of getting our younger kids caught up to speed. And now we're just going to have to see if we can stay healthy for the rest of the year. So as we look at our schedule, I mean, there's a lot of key matches. Every week in the Centennial is tough if you don't show up. But right now, I mean, we want to focus on LVC over the course of the next 9 or 10 days and get ready to win week 1. And that's obviously a goal that we set for ourselves, is to go out and win our non-conference game. And after we come out of that, right away, we're at number 2 Muhlenberg, which is always a big game for us. It's always a challenge. They're well coached. They're well prepared. They're, like I said, they're picked number 2 in the conference. So we know we have our hands full just in our first 3 games, because after that we have Ursinus, who's a physical team. So our schedule doesn't get any easier from the start on, but the first 3 games, are obviously physical and against very good football teams. When you look at the upcoming year, again, I think success is measured on not only experience, but also on leadership. And when you look at our senior group, they're an outstanding group. I mean, it's one that we were proud of when we recruited them, and we thought they'd have a great time here in terms of success on the football field and in the classroom. And as much success as they had on the football field, I mean, they have not had a losing season here since they walked on this campus. They've won a bowl game. They've had a lot of success on the field. Even more importantly, the excitement for me is that, we have 22 of them. 18 of them are above a 3.0 academically here, which is outstanding. And I couldn't be prouder of this group, and I'm excited, and we're working our tails off because we want to send them out of here the right way.